everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to do kind of like a recently read kind of wrap-up thing. I've read quite a few books since my last one. So yeah, I'm just going to get this started. So 3 of the books that I read were for the One Readathon to Read Them All. If you have seen my wrap-up for that, then you already know which ones I'm going to talk about. But just in case, I'm going to go ahead and like go over these again. Oh my god, it's snowing. I hate snow. Alright, the first book that I read is The Ocean at the End of the Lane by Neil Gaiman. I absolutely love this book. It's kind of dark, honestly, but also kind of whimsical, and I found it to be very, very beautiful. The ending, oh my god, the ending got my heart so much. So there is one thing, I don't believe this isn't a spoiler, but this book gave me kind of like maiden, mother, crone, like the triple goddess kind of vibes, which is very interesting, and just, I'm not sure if it was intentional or not, but that's just kind of the feeling that I got. It was very beautiful, very well written, and I absolutely loved it. Alright, the next book that I read is The Grace Keepers by Christy Logan. This, again, is a very hard book to describe. The world has been pretty much taken over by water. There's very little land left, so there are people who live on land, and is very valuable, and then there are people who live in floating cities. And this book follows a traveling circus and the characters on it, most especially North, she dances with a bear. Yeah, a bear. And then also another girl named Callanish, who is a grace keeper. Grace keepers in this world, pretty much, they are in charge of, okay, so in this world, if you die on land, if you're from land, if you're like land born and all that, then you get cremated. But if you are born on the water and you live on the water, you get put to rest at sea, if that makes sense. So Callanish is a grace keeper. That's what they call their not mortician, I don't know how to describe it, funeral people, person, whatever. And that is her job to pretty much help the family grieve and lay the bodies to rest. But it follows them too. It's just some weird things happen, and there's a character in here, she's a freaking horrible person. I hated her so much. And there is also a very nicely done female relationship. And then the next book is actually a reread, and that is An Enchantment of Ravens by Margaret Rogerson. I still love Isabel. I still love Rook. Gladfly, Aster, and a Foxglove can go suck a tree. I hate them so much. But I still absolutely love getting back into this world. I really hate that it's just, it's a standalone, but, it is what it is. I love this world so much. The next books that I read were actually ebooks that I checked out from the library, because, why not read any of the books that I actually own? And these aren't going to be in order, just because I just don't feel like doing it. I read Cold Fire by Tamora Pierce. This is the 3rd book in the Circle Opens quartet. This follows Daja, as she and her teacher are somewhere in the world. I don't remember everything, but and she has to there's a pyromaniac going around like burning buildings down, and like as each incident happens, more and more people are dying a very horrible death, and Daja's trying to figure out what the hell's going on to see if she can help find the pyromaniac and put a stop to his or her antics. It's a very beautiful book. For Daja only being 14, I really felt that she was a little bit too mature. She came off as almost like a 30-something-year-old adult. But I don't know, maybe I think maybe she's written as one of those characters who has a very, like an old soul kind of person, you know what I mean? The next book that I read is Shatterglass, which is the 4th book in the Circle Opens quartet. Okay, so I really love Tamora Pierce. I do. But when it comes to any mention about Triss, it always like mentions her weight. Within like the first couple of pages, she's called like chubby and hefty or something. With it, like, there's like 3 references to her weight in on one page, and I just, But again, she's 14 in this book, and then her student is like 20, and I really believed that there was going to be like some kind of romance going on, and I was like crossing my fingers hoping not, didn't remember it going on like when I had like previously read the books, but I wasn't 100% sure. I'm very glad that didn't happen. It was really interesting with like lightning and glass blowing and stuff. One of the other books that I read is called Highland Spitfire. It's the first book in the Highland Weddings by Mary Wine. It was a decent story, but when I finished the book, I was like, is that all? The plot was very lackluster. I kept wanting more from the book. It's a historical romance. The next book is actually a DNF, and that is A Kingdom of Dreams by Judith McNaught. Okay, so this book was written back in like 2016. And okay, so one of the things that made me DNF this book is that the female main character, her sister was sick, which she really wasn't sick, but the main character, she really thought her sister was fucking going to die, like get sick and die. So she was begging the love interest to like let her sister go, and you know, so she could get like medicine, right? And the main character, the guy, was like, only if you have sex with me, and she agrees naturally. Next book that I read is If You Dare. This is by Cresley Cole. It was just a meh book, honestly. The next book that I read is The Texan's Wager, which is The Wife Lottery, book number 1 by Jodie Thomas. I really loved it. Pretty much 3 women, they confessed to killing a man in self-defense, because it wasn't self-defense. He was gonna like take one of the girls and like rape her and like sell her around as a prostitute, and all the stuffers like, they were like, no. So the sheriff was like, well, this is a really small town, we don't really have the money to keep you, I don't want to send you to these mental or like prisons down in like Dallas or Fort Worth or whatever, because women back then were treated very poorly, and the sheriff was a very forward-thinking man. Anyway, so he's like, all right, I'll start a wife lottery. You like, if any man wants to pay a fine for your murdering this man, for y'all murdering this man, then y'all can marry. Anyway, there's a lot of rules. It was really good. Like, it sounds kind of bad the way I'm describing it, but it was really good because he was giving them an option. If you don't like the man, you don't have to stay with him. And after like, it was like a month, I'll come like every week, I'll come check up on you, and after the 3rd time you tell me that you would like to stay, at that point then I will like actually send in the marriage certificate, so y'all will become legally married. So that was a nice thing. And he did, he followed through and checked up on him. Anyway, one of the parts that got like the very first thing is that when the wife lottery thing was going on, one of the prospects, he wrote a little note that was to be given to whoever like picked his name, and it said on there, be my wife all my life. And I don't know what it was, but it fucking got me, and I absolutely loved it. I freaking loved it. I was here for it. It also had consent, because she was like, I don't really want to have sex with you because I don't really know you, and he was like, okay, yeah, we can wait. And they fucking waited, and it was beautiful. It was beautiful. I loved it. The second book is When a Texan Gambles. This is The Wife Lottery number 2. It was okay. The female character was written as, you know, the typical dumb, beautiful, blonde lady person. It was just bland. She was bland. Next, the third book is A Texan's Luck. I gave this book 2 stars. I could barely tolerate either of the characters, and at one point, okay, because the love interest dude, he was in the military. At one point, she is running away from him, fucking running away from him. He runs after her and slams her to the ground, right? And he has his like arm, like, you know, like in the movies when like 2 men are like arguing or whatever, he like grabs him right here and pushes him, and he has his arm on his neck. He was fucking doing that to her. And like this whole story, right, you could tell she did not want jack shit to do with Walker, and naturally they ended up falling in love and blah. Yeah, fuck that shit. The fourth one is The Texan's Reward. Again, another bland book. Just, I should have just not read this series, period. And then I started to read another book by Jodie Thomas, like hoping that maybe I'll come across like another like 4-star that I really loved. Which I didn't. The very last book that I'll probably ever read by her, she's like part Indian. or no, she's not part Indian. She was like stolen as a child by Native Americans, and she was sexually abused and just beaten and just all this awful shit, right? Like almost her entire fucking life since she was like 14 or something, and then she's like 20 something or whatever in this book. And she was just, a week after getting rescued, she like totally trusts this guy. She's gonna fucking die for him. She's gonna give him all of her worldly possessions that she had like made and saved as a child, you know, because she didn't know anything better, right? And I'm just like, you dumb bitch, no, goodbye. All right, and then those are all the books that I have read in November. So yeah, quite a few of them were okay. I don't know, I had a really weird reading month, to be honest with you. All right, that is it for my most recently read wrap-up books, things, whatever. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you later. Shit. So I fucking DNF'd that shit.